Morning Year 6, it's Wednesday the 3rd of March, and again this week our learning objective is to write effective sentences for our balance argument. And here's our success criteria, so let's have a look at the success criteria and the symbols. So I can use in my first sentence contrasting conjunctions, and remember that's linked to our sentence structure, so that's our yellow symbol. I can use modal verbs. And there we're going to be using an action sentence linked to our fantastic, so you can see that symbol that you should be familiar with. Then in our third sentence we're going to use some suffixes and we're going to use formal language. And there you will see a symbol with some washing hung on it, our laundry. So these are all to do with our basic skills. So you'll be making sure that the basic things that you should know already that you are using. So those are things like our spellings. So today we're looking at our senior view, just like we did yesterday, but now we're focusing on disagreeing, okay? So we're going to, for this statement, is screen use making children lazy? The senior people are now going to disagree with that statement. So we're on to our initiate stage, gaining our ideas for chunk 1, and we're thinking about contrasting conjunctions. So I want you to sort the conjunctions into contrasting conjunctions and conjunctions for addition. So think about, if you've got contrasting views, we're thinking about opposite views. If we're thinking about contractions for addition, we're adding to it, okay? So I want you to think about which ones contrast the views, have different views, and which ones add something else to it. So I want you to think of now some synonyms which give a positive influence. So something like, if something is good, that's positive. What other words can you think of? So here are some examples. So I've got good, useful, helpful, worthwhile, beneficial, favourable. You might have come up with some more yourself. So now we're on to chunk 1 and modelling. So I'll be having a look for our contrasting conjunction in my model. So I've got, in opposition, some head teachers argue that screen use has a positive influence on children's attainment and attitude. So there, from my first initiate stage, I've got my contrasting conjunction. And then from my second initiate stage, I've got positive influence. I want you to come up with something different in yours. So when you enable this sentence, the first thing you should do is open with a contrasting conjunction, and the second thing I want you to do is explain why some head teachers are in favour of children's screen use. So using that positive influence word. So we're now looking at sentence 2, so chunk 2, and we're going to initiate, come up with our ideas again, and this time we're focusing on modal verbs. This should have been something that you've done before. So I want you to list as many modal verbs as you can. If you're not sure, move to the next slide and we'll look at some. So modal verbs, they indicate likelihood of something happening. So I've got some examples here. So I've said that it should happen, it might happen, it would happen, it could happen, it will happen, it must happen, it may happen. So all those things tell me how likely it is for something to happen, and those are our modal verbs. So the other thing that we're going to look at is certain words and phrases we can use to show cause and effect. Okay, so when something's happened, what is the effect of it? So we could use consequently, so, because. So you might say because of this, so something's happened, our cause, and because of this, this is our effect. Due to this, therefore. So all those things show our cause and effect. So here's chunk 2, our modelling section, and thinking about modal verbs. So have a look for them. I've highlighted one for you. So research has found that 60 to 80% of children were motivated by using technology. So that's our cause and effect. So online apps could help to boost their progress in reading and other key subjects. So you've got your modal verb there of could. So to write sentence 2, here's our enable stage, and your sentence should include some data. So I had 60 to 80%. so use some data from your research. You must include a modal verb, and then you must include a conjunction which shows cause and effect. So we're going to initiate chunk 3. So we're thinking about our suffixes and our formal language. So I want you to think, what do the following groups of words have in common? Okay, so look at each group of words. There's 3 groups of words, and I want you to think, what do all those words, each group, what do they have in common with each other? And just write it down. So here's my model for chunk 3. By using on-screen pictures and graphs, many children can be galvanised to engage in their learning. So to enable you to write chunk 3, your sentence should include, it should describe how technology can help visual learners, it can use formal language, and it can use at least one of the ambitious suffix words that we've used.